Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. It was recently brought to my attention that Jennifer Lopez had a really visually stunning performance of her song Feel the Light just a few weeks ago during Fox's American Idol. Now, first off, this show deliberately tells you to idolize people. This is in direct contradiction to biblical principles of not setting idols before you. For example, in Leviticus 26:1, it states, quote, "You shall not make idols for yourself or erect an image or pillar, and you shall not set up a figured stone in your land or bow down to it, for I am the Lord your God." The video you see here is Jennifer Lopez in a dress that spans a 20-foot radius around her. On the one hand, this is some pretty creative and stunning imagery, but on the other hand, to those who are familiar with the esoteric messages that underline such performances, there is much more than meets the eye. The performance and the song in general is another example of the externalization of the occult hierarchy. First off, the song Feel the Light was on the soundtrack for the movie Home. Home is an animated adventure comedy for kids described in the following way, quote, "When O, a lovable misfit from another planet, lands on Earth and finds himself on the run from his own people, he forms an unlikely friendship with an adventurous girl named Tip, who is on a quest of her own. Through a series of comic adventures with Tip, O comes to understand that being different and making mistakes is all part of being human. And while he changes her planet and she changes his world, they discover the true meaning of the word home." Interesting that an alien that comes learns what it means to be human. While I haven't seen this movie, based on the description, I tend to think that it's more propaganda to accept some sort of extraterrestrial presence. Furthermore, the movie description makes me wonder if part of the propaganda for the potential alien savior gospel will be that home for us is not really Earth itself, but the stars. Now, I get asked this all the time, so let me mention here again, this doesn't mean that your kids can't watch the film or enjoy the movie, but if they are of the age to be able to have a conversation about it, you can discuss why they are pushing things that are not biblical. So moving on, at about the 1 minute point in the performance, the normal dress gives way to the image of outer space. Then we see particles emanating from Miss Lopez. Now this immediately reminds me of the particle accelerator, as it seems this idea of portals is all the rage right now, not just on the conspiracy circuit, but in mainstream entertainment. So what are they preparing us for? Now it's interesting to note that while the particles emanate from Miss Lopez, she sings these lyrics. Here I go, feel better now. Here I go, it's better now, feel better now. Here's the first verse. Do you remember when we fell under? Did you expect me to reason with thunder? I still remember when time was frozen. What seemed forever was just a moment. Hurry up, there's no more waiting, we're still worth saving. Now first off, it's interesting to note that it says, do you remember when we fell under? Under what? Could this be Satan trying to sympathize with humanity, comparing his own fall with the fall of mankind? And reason with thunder? Well, God is never described as thunder, but many times in the Bible, it is described that when God speaks, it's like the voice of thunder. So it wouldn't surprise me that if this was in reference to the true God of the Bible. Time being frozen is an interesting thought because it's possible that the fall of Satan happened before the creation of man, and some suggest the creation of the earth. So time as we measure it wouldn't have existed. And hurry up, there's no more waiting. Well, this reminds me of Revelation 12:1, where it says, quote, "Woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short." And this idea of us being worth saving, again, appeals to Lucifer, who plays the sympathy card with mankind, but in reality, he's under his own agenda. Now, the chorus is even more obvious, and here's what it says. Feel the light shining in the dark of night. Remember what we forgot. I know it's a long shot, but we're bringing it all back. We're bringing it all back. Now, feeling the light is a very similar idea for Freemasonic thought. Of course, the light bearer is Lucifer, the one who brought forth knowledge. And just to prove this point, let me quote a couple occult authors who share this idea. In The Secret Doctrine, Volume 2 by theosophist Helena Blavatsky, well, she states in a couple places here, quote, "Venus or Lucifer, also Sucra and Uranus the planet, is the light bearer of our Earth, in both its physical and mystic sense." Then on page 114, it states, quote, "Their prince is called Kabbalah Samael, the angel of death, who is also the seducing serpent Satan. But that Satan is also Lucifer, the bright angel of light, the light and life bringer, the soul alienated from the holy ones, the other angels for a period, anticipating a time when they would have descended on earth to incarnate in their turn." Very interesting stuff from Helena Blavatsky, the occultist who wrote The Secret Doctrine, volumes 1 and 2. And in terms of what this song is representing, it also seems to echo something that Alice Bailey, another occultist, said in her book, The Reappearance of the Christ, quote, These ancient mysteries were originally given to humanity by a hierarchy and contain the entire clue to the evolutionary process, hidden in numbers, in ritual, in words, and in symbology. These veil the secret of man's origin and destiny, picturing to him, in rite and ritual, the long, long path which he must tread back into the light. So let me read for you the chorus again. Feel the light shining in the dark of night. And the second time through the chorus, it reads, shining like the stars tonight, which is interesting because this light shines like the stars, which are described as angels in the Bible, but clearly they are not. Maybe they understand and know that they are not like the true stars. But moving on, remember what we forgot. I know it's a long shot, but we're bringing it all back. We're bringing it all back. The true light of the world is Jesus Christ, but because there's no mention of him here, we can only assume that this light is once again the mention of Lucifer, or at the very least, the teachings of Lucifer, that we are the reflections of the light that this fallen angel brings. As we keep watching the performance, we see the dress portray all sorts of portal or Stargate imagery with spirals and stars and the like. At 3 minutes, we see something that's very interesting. 2 particles circling Miss Lopez. Could this be in reference to the particles that will be accelerated at CERN? The particles speed up and eventually opens what looks like a portal, and then we see an image of the sky. And as images from the film Home are displayed, there appears a large number of orbs, which are supposedly UFOs for the alien beings in the film Home, but they remind me of this idea of individual human souls being trapped, being sucked back into the person of Miss Lopez, who represents Lucifer at the end of the song. If the portal references weren't enough, the actual music video for the song Feel the Light has even more occult symbolism. If we watch here, we see Miss Lopez glittering in gold, and then we see her going up a staircase that leads up to heaven. Now, check out the lyrics from the Ordo Tempo Orientis influenced song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Here's what the first 2 lines say. There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. And then later, your head is humming and it won't go. In case you don't know, the piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? And towards the end of the song, it states, and as we wind on down the road, our shadows taller than our soul, there walks a lady we all know, who shines white light and wants to show how everything still turns to gold. And if you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last, when all are one and one is all, to be rock and not to roll, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. So it's clear here that there is a definite correlation between the occult message that was behind the song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin, who was obviously shrouded with the occult and the influence of Aleister Crowley and the Ordo Tempo Orientis, and this recently released song for Home by Jennifer Lopez. And as we keep watching, there is a shot from the movie of people dancing, and oh look, there is a checkered floor, which of course represents the Masonic Temple. I mean, why do they always show that in entertainment media? Can't they come up with something a little bit different? And then it ends with Miss Lopez dancing in her large dress again and singing those interesting lyrics again. You and I can have it all tonight, so let's bring it back to life. Now we have another chance to fly, another chance to make it right. Taken from the perspective of Satan, who was the cherub who lost his position of authority in heaven, this song represents a clear indication of wanting to get back to where he was by bringing it back to life and have another chance to fly and another chance to make it right. And of course, in the mind of Satan, making it right is defined by the following 5 I will statements in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 14, verses 12 through 15. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Thanks for watching the video. God bless.